With me right now I have John Shuttleworth, and I believe you're from Huntington?
That's correct. We're from Huntington. We have the Wings of Freedom Museum that's based at the Huntington Municipal Airport in Huntington. We have a couple aircraft and several vehicles down here today, and our collection is geared towards World War II military aviation. Our key focus of the museum is this beautiful airplane behind us, the P-51 Mustang. This particular airplane was flown by Major Robin Olds during World War II, and he got 4 kills in this. In fact, this is the last airframe left in existence that was flown by one of our aces in World War II that got kills. So we have this aircraft that brought with it a lot of the memorabilia from the 479th Fighter Squadron, and we are the official repository for the squadron. In addition, we cover the European theater, both the East Front and the Western Front, and the Pacific Theater. And we have engines and uniforms and memorabilia and a nice print collection and many interesting things for people to come up and see. I brought the Mustang in this morning with our T6, which is in the background here. And
the yellow plane there?
Yes, the yellow one right there. And several of my volunteers came down here with us today. They brought the M37 54 Dodge Power Wagon and also my 48 Dodge, which is here between the two aircraft. And came down here to show off for the public and hopefully encourage people to come up and see the museum.
Okay. Now what does it take to be able to fly either this plane here or the other one over there?
Well, the interesting thing about these aircraft are their tail draggers. So it takes a little bit of extra training to learn to fly a tail dragger, and then to fly the Mustang. It's a very high performance aircraft, so a little bit of training in the high performance arena of flight, and you'd be pretty well trained to fly a Mustang. Usually what they recommend is you get about 400 hours in the T6 and then transition into the Mustang.
Okay, now what's the difference in the airspeed in both of these here?
Well, the T6 is relatively slow. It flies at about 160 miles per hour with a 240 mile an hour red line, or never exceed speed. In the pattern here, when you're landing, you're usually flying about 90 mile an hour. So it's a relatively slow, typical airplane. The Mustang, its never exceed speed is 505 miles an hour with a top-end cruising speed of 437 miles an hour. And when I'm in the pattern here, I usually start my overhead brake at about 200 knots and then bleed down in 130 knots in the pattern, which is most airplanes' cruising speeds.
So basically you go up from Huntington and you touch down. That's basically about it, isn't it?
Yeah, you get the gear in the wells and put them back out again.
Yeah.
It took me about 5.5 minutes to get here from Huntington.
Okay. About how long would it take you to go to Florida?
You can easily get to Florida in 2.5 hours, depending on winds.
Oh. All right. Where's the longest you've ever flown in this?
The longest I've flown, I took it to Nevada one time.
And that took about how long?
Well, there were several fuel stops involved and a large headwind, so it ended up taking about 7 hours to get to Reno, Nevada. Now, is this something that is a family operation? That's correct. My family has been involved in aviation all the way back to 1903. In fact, the portion of my family that lives in England was in the aircraft manufacturing business, and there's also a collection in Biggleswade, England, at Old Warden Aerodrome called the Shuttleworth Collection. That is a very historic collection of World War I and through the teens and just in the beginning of World War II type aircraft. And then here in Huntington we take over at World War II, and we have the T6 and the Mustang and an F-104, and we're adding several other later vintage aircraft. Now, how hard is it to find some of this vintage aircraft material or planes or vehicles for your museum? Is that pretty easy, or? It is relatively easy once you get your name out, because people know about you and who have the things. They're also scanning the market to see who would be interested in acquiring those items. And so once you become known, it's much easier to get either the aircraft or the vehicles. The Mustang and the T6, though, they're very easy airplanes to maintain as far as getting spare parts and such. Our next edition, which is going to be a jet, that's going to be a little bit more difficult because, especially what we're looking at getting a MiG, and that'll be a little more maintenance, a little harder to find parts, but we'll be able to manage, I'm sure. Is this a plane that you can actually take in bad weather too, or is it something that usually you need to have grounded? Well, the Mustang and the T6, my father and I, we really enjoy flying, so we have them filled with modern avionics and navigation equipment, and they're pretty much so set up to go in almost any weather.
Oh, very good. Then you really can fly about any time you want to. You don't really have to pay too much attention to the weather.
Well, because of the historical significance of the Mustang, we don't push any weather with the Mustang. We keep it pretty during nice weather days like this, but if we got caught in an air show and had to get out, we wouldn't have a problem. The T6, it's a little more of a normal type airplane as far as maintenance and what have you, so we do fly a little weather in it, and it's a good weather trainer for the Mustang. So we do a lot of our weather training in the T6, and then on the days when we might have to fly the Mustang in weather, we're prepared.
Okay, tell us about your museum, where we can find this. All the viewers that are watching this program today, Marion's not that far from Huntington.
No, that's why we're down here. We're located at the Huntington Municipal Airport off Highway 5, just north of Warren. We're open on Saturdays and Sundays. On Saturday, we're open from 10 till 4 p.m., and on Sundays from 1 to 5 p.m. year-round. And we have an option where you can get a group together and bring a group through at a reduced price. And we also like to do dinners and that sort of thing. So if your organization would want to have a dinner or maybe even a lunch with a real nostalgic scenery, we'd love to have you up and see what we could do.
Okay, so you encourage school tourists also.
That's correct. Last year we had from Huntington County, we had 160 of the 6th graders come through, and next year in May we're going to do the same thing with 3 of the schools from the Huntington County school system, and we're going to bring all the 6th graders through, about 350 children, and we really encourage that. We really like to see that, so we enjoy doing this for the public. It's a lot of fun.
Well, thank you very much, and good luck with your museum, and this is wonderful.